We have to bite the bullet. Free speech isn't just for the people that you like, it's for bigots, it's for racists, it's for really nasty people. We just have to contain it at the point where it could incite violence.
We may all be disgusted with what is being said, but I think that one of the things that we tend to underestimate is not just that racist language and racist views are disgusting, is that they can be crushing.
An open debate, but not one for racists to air their views. But do racists have a right to be heard? This was the discussion among think tanks and members of the public last night.
There are lots of racists, and if racists didn't have the right to talk, we'd probably have a very silent nation. And not only that, you could say that a lot of what Michael Gove says is about his party and about taking the country forward. But a lot of what he's been doing recently is racist, when you look at what he's doing with the curriculum. Thank you.
I'm a bit disappointed as a Liberal that this side of the debate is rehearsing what legal positions there are where the pressure for racism comes from people living in a system they feel is letting them down.
I think if you talk about freedom of expression and people having a right to be heard, you have to also talk about what people think. Because if you stop them speaking, they still have the thoughts in their head.
More than 47,500 racist incidents were recorded by the police in England and Wales in 2011-2012, down on the previous year, although the British Crime Survey figure estimate is much higher. And with immigration, the changing face of Britain, at the top of the political agenda, this debate by the Runnymede Trust is a timely platform.
I'm very nervous of suggesting that just speech, any speech from an individual is the same as an act of violence. But I think a lot of people, nice white liberal middle class people I hear in the UK saying control immigration are racist, and they're in denial on that.
Call people racist if they're racist. But if you're a Liberal and someone doesn't agree with you, don't say you're a closet racist, unless it really is motivated by racism and you can catch someone in the act of racism, because you're pushing the reasonable conversation you should have.
The panellists were chaired by Robert Berkeley, the Runnymede Trust director. He says he wouldn't go as far as suggesting he'd sit down with the leader of the BNP, Nick Griffin, but that these questions need to be asked.
Racism has massive effects on our society, and I don't think anybody tonight denied that. But we have to find a way of getting rid of it. And do we get rid of it by ignoring people, or do we engage them in conversation? And that's a question we're still struggling with and ought to be struggling with on a regular basis.
I believe in free speech. I think it's wonderful. But I'm very worried about how the real racist person, who's very articulate, who marshals an argument which is fallacious and using a lot of untruths, lies about different groups of people, can incite race hatred. I lived in Notting Hill during the 1950s when Oswald Mosley was still alive and kicking, and he incited race hatred against black people in Notting Hill, which caused riots.
I'm really disappointed. I thought it was, first of all, really insensitive to do something in 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's such an incredibly sensitive topic that people really get touched by. The wrong thing that they were doing was trying to say that racism is the opposite to freedom of speech, where equality should be the opposite of racism and not freedom of speech.
Racism has been manufactured to put people down so that the people at the top of the pyramid keep in power.
It's a complex thread of opinion to fit into an hour and a half, but it served as a start, and maybe it's one long road to travel before any real solution is found.